All right, so we're live, man. We are live. So, um, today we are going to talk about. This is our. Hey, how are you, Margarita? Waldo, how are you, Waldo? So, all right. So we're gonna talk about today. We're gonna talk about ice breathing and the discomfort that transforms. Good morning to all of you, Go Juanca family and Open Insurances. We're here today. I want to start with this Monday motivation. It's a Tuesday motivation in English. We're gonna do a series in different languages so we can share the spirit of what we did yesterday in Spanish. We're doing today in English, tomorrow in Portuguese, Thursday in French, and we finish out on Friday in Italian. So we have a lot of content to all our distributors, brokers all over the world, and this is going to be saved so you can watch it later if you can't watch it live. So today we're going to start this Monday motivation with Tuesday in a different way, not with theory, not with studies, but with real stories from my life and that shaped the relationship with cold, discomfort, and resilience, and how to get out of the zone of comfort. So my first story, I was 5 years old, and I was five, and we were in Vermont, upstate, up north, and we were at my auntie's house and very near a complete frozen lake. So we're playing like every child does, and I fell into the lake, and I remember the impact, the absolute cold, body freezing, the fear, and I spent several minutes in the water, icy water, and I suffered from hypothermia. And I'm here telling this story for one reason only. My cousins, my older cousins who were with me, they reacted really fast and saved me. Some of them, I don't remember which one of them, but three of them, they got me out of the water, thank God. And that day, ice entered in my story, not as a trend, not as a challenge, but as a deep experience that, even though if I didn't understand it back then, marked my relationship with cold and mental control. Ice taught me something very early in life. When the body goes into shock, the mind defines the outcome. So that started when I was 5 years old, and fast forward to 17. When I was 17, I decided to run the marathon. My dad invited me to run the marathon, the New York City Marathon. And the marathon and the discipline of the cold and what's the relationship with the marathon is very interesting because in 1993, I decided to run it, my first marathon with my dad, back to back, the full 26.2 miles. And that's when I met my first formal coach. My dad was my coach in the beginning, but then we found a formal coach for techniques and for health, and he was a man who deeply understood the running. He was one of the best runners in Venezuela at that time, and he marked my athletic and mental life. His name was Leslie Mentor. Leslie Mentor, he was my coach. He was also my father's coach. And during one training season, he gave us a very clear instruction. He said, every time you run more than 2.5 hours or more than 3 hours straight, go by ice and put your entire legs on cold water, and if you can, your whole body. At that time, I had a bath, so I could do it. I could put my legs in it and do it for 20 minutes. 2 at a time, 10 at a time, or 20 minutes straight, whatever you want. The first time was brutal, was pain, discomfort, was shouting, wow, like crazy. This urge and the urge to get out immediately. You go to fight or flight mode. And but every Sunday we ran long distances to prepare for the marathon. And every Sunday we followed the ritual. And without realizing it, that ritual, that discipline became ice, became discipline, and the discipline became character. So looking back today, connecting the dots, looking forward, connecting the dots back, connecting the dots looking forward, as Steve Jobs used to say. I understand now something very important. Cold didn't just help my recovery from the legs, my recovery from the muscles, my recovery from the strain that I was feeling into. It trained my mind not to escape discomfort. And most runners now, most athlete teams, most competitive teams, the Premier League, the Spanish League, the Deutsche League, NFL, NHL, NBA, any sport right now, after they finish a game, they go into a plunge of cold water because it helps incredibly in the recovery. So next day, if you run 30 miles or 26 miles or 20 miles or 15 miles, whatever the pace you might run, your muscles suffer, your tendons suffer, your joints suffer, every place in your body suffers. So as you go in the water, that helps de-inflammation, and it helps you can move freely the next day. Most of the people who would run the marathon with me, the next day they couldn't even go up the stairs or down the stairs in any restaurant or any place whatsoever in New York. So the next day after the marathon, I was skating in the park in Rockefeller Center, for example. And every single time I did the marathon, I did it 15 times in New York City Marathon, and every time I would go to Rockefeller to skate. The next day after the marathon, I wouldn't do it before, hoping I had no injuries. But after the marathon, we would do it. And the only reason why I could do it is because of the ice. So it trained your mind not to escape from discomfort. That's one of the things that is very important. Then my third story goes up when I was 45 years old. Time is forward again. Fast forward from 17 to 45. I did 23 marathons. I ran 510 Ks, 250 21Ks, more than 300 5Ks. I've done a loop around the world almost twice now running, and it's been a hell of a ride because it trains your mind to be relentless, to be fearful, and to be strong. And when I was 45, browsing the internet, I came across a guy talking about something I already knew, but in a complete different way, in a complete different angle. And it was Wim Hof. Wim Hof, and it was also referred to me by a marathoner that a guy would run with a couple of years back. He told me, follow this guy, Wim Hof. So I started watching his videos, and he started doing a breath work, breathing techniques, mental control, cold exposure, and awareness. I love cold, and every time I travel to a cold country up in the north or really deep in the south, I would go in the water. People would tell me, "Oh, you're crazy. That's nonsense." But I'm so used to the cold, and I like it so much that I love it, that people don't understand. But when I understood this method, the breathing method, everything clicked. I didn't have the method that he had. I never got the control that he developed. And today, thanks to that, every Sunday and many times, 2 or 3 times a week, I immerse myself in cold water. But no longer the brute force or the shouting or anything, because I breathe. And while you do the conscious breathing techniques that he shows, you go in it and you enjoy it. And conscious breathing is one of the best things you can learn. So what does cold water teach you? Ice doesn't ask you if you're ready. Ice teaches you a lot of things. It doesn't ask you if you're ready. It doesn't negotiate. It doesn't wait for your best day. It makes you uncomfortable every time. It paralyzes you, as if you saw a lion. It paralyzes you. It forces you to breathe, which is fantastic. Breathe from the nose, not a shallow breathing that we're used to in our daily lives with our cortisol going up and their stress and everything and all things that are happening around right now. And there lies the greatest lesson: learning how to breathe in the middle of chaos. That's important. As soon as somebody goes into the water when it's cold, the best thing that the first thing that happens is that you go into a shock and you stop breathing. And if you stop breathing, you're dead. You can't handle it. And that's exactly what you need. You need to learn how to breathe in the middle of chaos. And this helps even in sales. This helps in your business. This helps in entrepreneurship, leadership, and the person in your personal life. You won't always be motivated. You won't always feel strong. The market won't always be easy, but the one who learns to stay is the one that grows. So if you learn to stay, same thing as the ice. If you learn to stay, you grow. And the parallel with sales, because most people ask me when we do these motivational Mondays or motivational Tuesdays now that is in English, selling is like cold exposure. There are calls that feel really uncomfortable. There are calls, there are follow-ups that create fear. There are silences that drives you crazy. But the average salesperson runs away. The professional breathes and stays. And cold taught me this. Don't try to control the environment, control your breathing. And when you control your breathing, you regain mental control. So that's our parallel with sales. And some people ask me online, why do you think ice heal? And this side most people don't talk about. But before I started this, I want you to understand something very important. This isn't just a mindset. This is biology, this is physiology, and this is real health. Ice and cold water don't just make you stronger inside, they also help you heal on your outside. So it's heart health, very good for your cardiovascular system. Control cold exposure improves your blood circulation, drain your blood vessels, your vasoconstriction and vasodilatation, strengthens the cardiovascular system, helps regulate blood pressure. If you suffer from high blood pressure, it helps you regulate it, and it trains. It's like training your heart without running a mile. So it's doing a cardiovascular workout without doing the mile, and that's only the benefits for the heart. But then again, for the immune system, the cold activates natural defenses, stimulates white blood cell production, it strengthens the immune system, improves the response to infections, and increases overall resilience. That's why many people who practice cold exposure never get sick and get sick less often than most. So, for example, I had a cold maybe 2 years ago, and before that, 3.5 years ago. Even in COVID, I used to do the cold plunges and the breath work from Wim Hof, and I used to do a lot of meditation with Joe Dispenza as well. So I mixed both that elevate your immune system, and with those both things, I was able to escape from any COVID for years. I think I got like a little bit of a flu in the aftermath of all, when everything was when everything passed. So never got sick with COVID, thanks to this amazing method of breath work. Elevates your immune system, so you're not so prone to illnesses. So one of the deep inflammatory effects that it's so powerful. So that's why all these athletes are performing the cold plunges right after or before. You can do it before doing weights. If you wanna strengthen your muscles, you can do it before doing weights. Then you do the cold plunge, then do weights. But if you want to get rid of injuries, you do it after the exercise. So most of the tennis players right now, Djokovic, Nadal, all of the Zverev, all of them, they go into deep plunge after a 5-hour match or a 2-hour match or 3-hour match. And same with basketball players, NFL, NHL, and every single professional team right now in professional sport, they're using it because the deep anti-inflammatory effects that ice have, it's one of the most well-known benefits. reduces chronic inflammation, decreases the joint pain, decreases joint swelling, relieves muscle and tendon pain, accelerates recovery and after effort. And that's why ice has been used for decades in high performance athletes, in marathon runners, in professional sports, and in rehabilitation processes all across the countries, all across the world. So with muscles, with injuries and tissue, the cold exposure repairs the muscle micro tears. These micro tears happen even after a soccer match, which is 90 minutes. It repairs most of them, restores the tissue, reduces bruises and impacts that you might have, and it speeds the recovery after falls or hits, whatever, where it might happen to you in a match. And there's a reason ice is a part of medical and sports protocols worldwide. There's one of the most important things they use for de-inflammation. In high impact sports, for example, if you run or you play tennis, rugby, soccer, or do CrossFit or lift weights, cold water is not optional. It's a tool. It's a fantastic tool because it helps reduce the fatigue. It improves your motivation, lowers cortisol, prevents overuse of injuries, train more consistently, and extend your athletic life. And that's why I've practiced this since I was 17, and that's why I'm still active today. I just played 2-hour tennis match this morning. So mental and emotional health are pretty important. Here's one of the greatest benefits. The cold exposure regulates the nervous system, which is very good, reduces anxiety, improves the mood, increases dopamine and norepinephrine, strengthens stress tolerance, and many people look for pills to feel better. But cold teaches you to self-regulate you from within. So what we say in most of our trainings and most of the retreats that I've been, I went to Poland a couple of years ago, almost 4 years, 4 years ago. I went to Poland and met Wim Hof himself. And we did a lot of plunges in different glaciers up in the mountains in Poland. And we even climbed a mountain, which was 2,900 meters, one of the tallest mountains in Europe. We climbed that mountain without shirt, only shoes and a shirt and a short. And we went up, and it was freezing cold. It was minus some degrees, and it was snowing. And we went up there all with our breath work, all breathing consciously. And he would say most of the time, you can get high on your own supply. So you don't need drugs to get high. You can do it yourself with your pineal gland, with your body, with your breath work, and with your mind. You can get high on your own supply. So you breathe, you calm down, and you regain control. That's for mental and emotional health. And benefits for children and older adults, when guided properly and with common sense, improves the stress adaptation, strengthens immunity, teaches self-control, and connects body and the mind very early. Always, obviously, with supervision, progression, and the respect for the body. You should start with a hand. You put hand in ice for a minute, and then 2 minutes, and then 3 minutes, and put both hands. Then put your face in it for 30 seconds, and a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And then you can do your feet. Then you can start with your body. You can start with cold showers first before getting into the plunge, and you start getting used to the ice. It's a process. It's not it's not recommended to do it right away. And for kids and older people, very much. We love to do it progressively. It's not something that you do today and get into the cold plunge, because it's a shock for the body that is very important to prepare yourself for that. So ice is not it's not punishment. It's a natural medicine. It's not suffering for the sake of suffering. It's getting uncomfortable in order to heal. It's training the body, training the mind, training the breath, And when you train the three all together, everything else improves. Your energy, the decisions, your sales, and your life. So I'm going to give you a challenge for this week. I'm not asking you to jump into ice, although it helps, but don't jump into ice. You can do it progressively. I'm asking you to do this. Make the call that you've been avoiding all this time. Send the proposal that scares you a lot. Follow up, even if they didn't reply. Get uncomfortable with intention. And when your body starts to accelerate, breathe. And if you are and if, as if you were inside the cold plunge, breathe. And the magic isn't in avoiding discomfort. It is in learning how to breathe inside it. That's what runners do. That's what entrepreneurs do. That's what the great salespeople do. And if you want to go deeper into this mindset, read my book, Secrets from an Insurance Broker. I have it on Amazon. Go into Amazon and seek for my book, Secrets from an Insurance Broker. I have it in Spanish and in English. And it's not just about selling insurance. It's not just about running. It's about living, selling, and building resilience. If you're an insurance broker, don't miss my course. I have a course in Udemy, which is in Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, French, and English, and now in Hindi, thanks to AI. But the other 5 languages I recorded myself. And if you're an insurance broker, don't miss Secrets from an Insurance Broker. It's available in the 5 languages on Udemy and Hotmart. And because success isn't a talent, it's emotional resilience sustained over time. See you in the eyes, my boys, or in that uncomfortable call, but we see each other growing. Thank you so much for following us. And if something resonates with you that we've said today, send this video to any friend of yours anywhere in the world. We have students in 180 countries now, all over Africa, all over Europe, all over Latin America, all over the US, Canada, Mexico, all across Asia. And if this resonates you have a friend in any country that speaks English and wants to get information about the ice, don't hesitate to send him this message, because ice can be life-changing, can be a life-changing experience for most. And if you follow Wim Hof, it's a really good friend and a really fantastic guy. He has more than 17 records in Guinness, breaking, records inside ice, outside the ice, with the ice, inside a pool, inside glaciers. Every time he has 17 different records. People couldn't believe what he could do, and he's now forming an army of people like me that love ice, that can deliver the message across, because ice is one of the best medicines that exists out there, and we are missing it by not knowing how to breathe. So when you encounter ice and when you go to a cold plunge, you don't suffer as much. And for me, it has been a life-changing experience. It's been fantastic. Going to Poland and meeting him was one of the best experiences in my life. The people around, people surrounding ice, people who love ice. We met people from Sweden, from Norway, from Finland, from Iceland, from Greenland, from all of these countries. Went there. Belarus, Poland, Russians. There were people from all across Europe, US, Canada, mostly countries with the 4 seasons. Maybe Latin Americans. There was myself and another person, a guy from the islands, from the Caribbean. That's it. But the good thing about this is that it's becoming a revolution of ice. It's becoming, I don't like the word revolution, because we've been under a revolution in our country and has been destroyed our country. And but it's becoming a very, very fantastic wave of ice across the world. And it's changing mindsets. It's changing the way many doctors approach a lot of illnesses, and it's helping many people with multiple sclerosis, with autoimmune diseases, with injuries, with several problems, mental health issues, with every single spectrum of the medicine. And it's now being used for cancer patients when they apply chemotherapy. Immediately they go into a cold plunge, because if you go to a cold plunge, the chemotherapy goes directly into the bad cells, into the cancer cells, and destroys them without having the side issues of vomiting, diarrhea, uh, the painful headaches, etc., etc. So it's being used across multiple um, medical institutions. I went to Mayo Clinic last year in Arizona, and then went to Mayo Clinic in Rochester, went to Baptist this year in Miami, last year, 2025, Jackson System, the Jackson Memorial, Mayo Clinic in Gainesville, no, not in Gainesville, in Jacksonville, and Cleveland Clinic. All of those clinics are using ice for therapies for not only cancer patients, for a lot. Well, traumatology, it's across every single institution across the world, but they're doing it for heart surgeries, for cancer patients, heart surgeries, for many autoimmune diseases, and it's helping a lot of people everywhere. So my advice, or my not my advice, because I don't want to give advice, my experience sharing this, it's that it's having an impact, a profound impact in the lives of so many people. So give it a try and tell me how it goes. Thank you, my boys. Thank you, Santropop. Ahí está Santropop más nylon. El gran Aguad está por aquí. Aguad is in the house. Mauricio, el gran Mauro. Gracias. Thank you so much for listening and sending it over to any people who speaks English and wants to know more about the ice. Thank you. Cheers, Mike. Thank you, my boys.